going to talk about complex fractions. Ano nga ba itong complex fractions? A fraction that has a rational expression in its numerator or denominator, or in both, is called a complex fraction. Here are examples of complex fractions. 1/2 over 3/4. A plus 1 over 2 over b minus 1. 3 over 1 plus 1/2 and 2 over 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 over x. To simplify a complex fraction means to transform it to a simple rational expression. It is important for us to identify the main fraction line in a given complex fraction, since there are at least 2 fraction lines involved. So in the first fraction, so there is the main fraction line. Okay, the second one, the third, and the fourth example. The main numerator is the expression above the main fraction line, and the denominator is the expression below the main fraction line of the complex fraction. Let us now move on to simplifying complex fractions. Okay, so the first step in this method is to determine the least common multiple of all the denominators in the complex fraction. Okay, so the denominators here are 2 and 4. So the same here, we have 2 and 4. So just get the LCM of 2 and 4. And that is, alright, that is 4. Okay, so after determining the LCM of the denominators, you're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator of the complex fraction by the LCM. Okay, so multiply this by 4. So the same here, you're going to multiply by 4. Okay, so we put the equal sign here. Alright? So multiplying the first term by 4, we have x over 2 times 4. So this is canceled. This is 2. So we have 2x plus x over 4 multiplied by 4. So we have cancel 4 and 4. So we have x. Okay? Then the denominator we multiply by 4. So 2 is canceled. Then 4 becomes 2. 2 times x is 2x. Minus, okay, we have 4 and 4, so we have to cancel them. So this is 1, 1. So x times 1 is x. Alright? So 2x plus x is 3x over 2x minus x is x. So your answer is 3x over x, or simply 3. 3 is the simplest term of this complex fraction. Okay, so second example, simplify 3x minus 9 over x all over x plus 3 over 5. Okay, so like what we did in the first example, we're going to look at the denominators of all the fractions appearing in the complex fraction. So we have x here, and the other denominator is 5. Okay, so the LCM is simply 5x. Okay, so multiplying the numerator by 5x and the denominator by 5x, then we have, what is 3x multiplied by 5x? Alright, that is 15x squared. Okay, what about 9 over x multiplied by 5x? So, we simply cancel x and x here. So, we have 9 times 5. Alright? So, that is 45. Over, we have x times 5x is 5x squared plus 3 over 5 multiplied by 5x. So, 5 and 5 are cancelled. So, 3 times x is 3x. Okay? Then, let's look at the resulting fraction. Let us see if we can factor. Okay, the numerator. What's the common factor? Okay, the common factor is 15. So, we have here 15x squared divided by 15 is x squared minus 45 divided by 15 is 3. Okay, over 5x squared plus 3x, the common factor is x. So, we have 5x squared divided by x is 5x plus 3x divided by x is 3. So now, why do we have to factor? To see if it can still be simplified. Okay? Now, do we have common factors here? Okay, there are no common factors that can be cancelled. So therefore, you can express your answer like this or like this one. So whichever answer is correct, because this one can no longer be simplified. Alright? Okay, so let's have example number 3. Simplify 1 over x minus 1 over y. So since this is the main fraction line, there's only one denominator in the given complex fraction. So the LCM of the denominators, x and y, is xy. Alright? So let's multiply the numerator by xy and the denominator by xy, the LCM of the denominators. Okay, what is 1 times xy? Alright, that is xy over 1 over x times xy. Alright, we can cancel x and x. So we have 1 times y, which is y, minus 1 over y multiplied by xy, so we can cancel y this time. So 1 times x is x. So let's look at the answer. Can it still be simplified? Okay, so this can no longer be simplified. So this is the answer. Xy over y minus x. Let's have number 4. Simplify x plus x over 3 all over x over 3 minus x. Okay, so in this example, we're going to use the second method of simplifying complex fraction. Okay, this method makes use of combining the fractions in the main numerator as well as in the main denominator. So as you can see, we have here the main fraction line, alright? So this is your numerator and this is your denominator. Okay, so let's combine first the fractions in the numerator. Alright? So we have x plus x over 3. So combining it, we have to get the LCD. Alright, what's the LCD of the main numerator? So this is 1 and this is 3. So the LCD or the LCM of the denominator is 3. Right? So 3 divided by 1 is 3 times x is 3x. Plus 3 divided by 3 is 1 times x is x. Alright? So let's have the denominator. So we have here x over 1. What is the LCM of the denominators? Okay, so the LCM of the denominators is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1 times x is x. Minus 3 divided by 1 is 3 times x is 3x. Alright, so what is 3x plus x? Okay, that is 4x over 3 over x minus 3x is negative 2x over 3. Now, after combining the numerator and the denominator, we have this one. The next step should be, alright, multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So since this is the main fraction line, this is your numerator. So we have 4x over 3 multiplied by the reciprocal of your main denominator. Okay, what's the reciprocal of negative 2x over 3? Okay, so that is negative 3 over 2x. Okay, so 3 and negative 3 is cancelled. This is negative 1, this is 1. Okay, then x and x is cancelled. 4 and 2. Alright, this is 1, this is 2. So what's the answer here? We have 2 times negative 1 over 1 times 1. So the answer is negative 2. Okay, so let's have number 5. Simplify 1 minus m squared minus mn minus n squared over m squared minus n squared all over m minus n over m plus n minus m plus n over m minus n. So like what we did in the fourth example, we're going to simplify this complex fraction by combining the fractions in the main numerator as well as in the main denominators in order for us to obtain a single fraction. Okay, so here, alright, we are going to get the LCM of the denominator. So as you can see, this is 1. So the denominator is 1. So the LCM is simply m squared minus n squared. Okay? So m squared minus n squared divided by 1 is m squared minus n squared times 1. That is m squared minus n squared. Minus, alright? M squared minus n squared divided by m squared minus n squared is 1. So multiplied by this. So m squared minus mn minus n squared. Alright? Okay, now, how about the main denominator? So we have m plus n here and m minus n. So the LCM of the denominator is m plus n multiplied by m minus n. Okay? So, m plus n, m minus n divided by m plus n. Okay, so that's m minus n multiplied by m minus n. So that is m minus n quantity squared. Minus m plus n, m minus n divided by m minus n. That is m plus n multiplied by m plus n. So that's m plus n quantity squared. Okay, now let's simplify, right? So let's remove the grouping symbol here. So m squared minus n squared minus, that's negative 1 times m squared. So minus m squared, negative 1 times negative mn is positive mn. Negative 1 times negative n squared is positive n squared. All over m squared minus n squared. Okay, how about the denominator? Okay, so we have m minus n quantity squared. So that is just squaring a binomial. Okay, so m minus n quantity squared. Review natin, how do we square a binomial? Alright, so square the first term, multiply the first term and the second term, so that's negative mn, times 2 is negative 2mn. And then square the second term, so that is positive n squared. Okay? So we have m squared minus 2mn plus n squared. right? Minus, okay, what is m plus n? Again, we have to square this binomial. Okay, so squaring that, we have m squared plus 2mn plus n squared. Alright, all over m plus n, m minus n. Okay, now, this is preceded by a minus sign. We know that if a grouping symbol is involved and it is preceded by a minus sign, to remove the grouping symbol, you're going to change the sign of each of the terms inside the grouping symbol. So, let's remove the grouping symbol. We change m squared, so that is negative n squared. Alright? Then, this is positive 2n, so that's 2mn, that becomes negative 2mn. This is positive n squared, so that is negative n squared. Okay? Okay, so let us combine like terms here in our numerator. We have m squared, positive, and negative m squared. No, so that's cancelled. Negative n squared and positive n squared, that's also cancelled. Okay? What about in the denominator? We have m squared, negative m squared. Okay? N squared, negative n squared is also cancelled. So we cannot cancel negative 2mn and negative 2mn because they have the same signs. Okay, so what happened to our numerator? Okay, so that becomes mn. And our denominator is m squared minus n squared. Okay, what about here? Negative 2mn, negative 4mn. So that is negative 4mn. Okay, we're going to put them together because they have the same sign. Over m plus n, m minus n. Okay, now, you're going to multiply the numerator with the reciprocal of your denominator. So, mn over m squared minus n squared multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay, what's the reciprocal? Okay, so it's m plus n times m minus n over negative 4mn. Okay, now, okay, so you have to multiply. M plus n, m minus n is the same with m squared minus n squared, no? Kasi nga, m plus n, m minus n is the same with m squared minus n squared. Then mn over negative 4mn. Okay, we can cancel mn here, mn. So this is 1. Alright, so our final answer is negative 1/4. So, ayan lang pala, no? So, it's negative 1/4. Okay, so guys, I hope that may natutunan kayo sa lesson natin today. So, for those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell para ma-notify kayo every time I post videos. Bye!